And we're back here on the Stogie Geeks show. Want to tell everyone to check out www.stogiegeeks.com. You can watch, listen to all of our shows, and read all of the latest reviews on new and old cigars from none other than Tim Margarini. Very nice reviews you've been doing, Tim. Thank you very much. Everyone appreciates them. And like I said, you can check out our shows. You can listen to the podcast on iTunes, subscribe to it, get it downloaded to your computer each and every week, or just visit our website, listen to the shows directly, and watch all of our videos. We also distribute through blip.tv, so you can subscribe to our videos as well and get those downloaded to your computer each and every week. So multiple ways to get the show. Of course, you can listen live if you pay attention to our Twitter feed, @Stogie Geeks. You can follow us on Twitter. We announce the live recordings of the show and listen and watch live, www.stogiegeeks.com/live.
And I've been, as soon as we get a show scheduled, I've been trying to post it up on the website in the far left-hand corner of when the next show is.
Very nice, very nice. You can just check our website for the
There's
next.
a link there.
We're trying to get better about knowing when the next recording is going to be, where it's going to be at, and what time. So we've got internal tracking mechanisms in place, as well as the fine executive producer for all the Paul.com Enterprise shows, working with the Stogie Geeks crew to make sure that we're scheduled and guests and all that stuff. And we're going to have guests coming up on the show. We're going to start scheduling some people. And we're also going to be broadcasting live from some locations as part of our sponsorship agreement with Ocean State Cigars. We will be doing one live podcast from Mr. J's Havana Smoke Shop.
Yes.
The makers of, founders of Ocean State Cigars and makers of the J. Grotto series cigar. We will be there. I'm not sure when, but scheduling is in the works. We're going to be doing a live show from the shop. And we're going to be doing a live broadcast from the Grotto, which gave birth to the Grotto series cigar. So we'll be there doing a live show as well, which is at Mr. Paul Giles' home, which will be, that's awesome, dude. Like, the guy that made the cigar, that became the name of the place in his house, we're going to be there doing a live podcast. I'm really looking forward to that. It's epic. He has a pool. I'm curious to see who's the first Stogie Geeks member to fall in the pool drunk.
It's going to be a good time. That'll be sometime this summer.
Ben will be puking in the pool. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great times. You should watch that one for sure. So, what do we want to... this segment here, we're going to talk about... And this stems from some listener feedback that we got. And just, talking to people in the local shop. A lot of times people come to the local shop. I'll be there smoking, and they'll ask me, Paul, what are you smoking? And I'll say it's, it's a 3-year-old age this or that or whatnot. And the question becomes, how do you find aged cigars? So I thought I'd give our listeners a few tips on how to find aged cigars. It's really not that hard. Like, if I can find aged cigars, you can too. Like, it's not, there's no magic to it. I think a lot of it is about making friends. I think is the kind of overarching lesson to this segment is to make friends. And the first friend you should make is with your local shop. I mean, don't just walk into your shop and say, hey, you got anything aged? Like, that's probably not going to go over so well. Start a relationship with them. Talk to them about the cigars that you like. Most good shop owners will want to hear about which cigars you like, why you like the cigars, which brands you like to smoke, what your flavor profile is, and then it'll even have some suggestions for you. Then have a list of cigar brands that you like. Do your research. This kind of stems from those of us in computers, and I was certainly trained that you don't just go asking questions without doing some research on your own.
Yep.
And there were some time frames and limits put to this at the various places I've worked, but in computers, for example, you just don't encounter a problem and immediately say, well, I got to go ask someone a question, and go over to the person and say, well, how do you solve this problem? Without showing that you've done at least 20 to 30 minutes of research to see how you might solve that problem on your own. If you can demonstrate to your mentors, for example, that you've done research and say, well, I tried X, Y, and maybe even Z, and it didn't work, can you help me out? They're much more inclined to help you.
Yes.
And I think this extends into cigars. So do your research about what cigars may be out there, what some of the limited releases. Limited in age are kind of going to intertwine, right? Because if it was only a short-run cigar that was released 2 years ago, if you find them now, they've got some age on them. So do your research, prove your knowledge and interest in the area, and you've got a much better start. Now, when you start asking about age stuff, Do it in an intelligent manner, because they're going to be more inclined to maybe break out some of that stuff that's been laying around, and that means, doing your homework, as I said. Don't be afraid to look around either. Sometimes just walking into a shop, looking around, and some good signs are yellow cellophane, plume, or boxes that may look old. For example,
look in the deep dark corners of that walk-in humidor.
Yeah, I mean, boxes tend to fall behind things.
Yes,
and
top shelf, right-hand corner, in the dark shadows.
Exactly, ones that meet people. So my example for this is Davidoff makes the small boxes of cigars. And when I say box, it's a cardboard box, right, that holds 5 cigars in cellophane, and it's all packaged so that they stay neatly inside this little small box. Visually inspect those boxes. I scored a great Davidoff Anniversario #1. It's like a Connecticut broadleaf one, but I looked at the box, and it looked like someone had thrown it in the dirt and kind of smeared it around and then put it back on the on the shelf. Because when you store something in a humidor, I think it tends to show age after it's been there for a while because of the high humidity that's present in the humidor. So look for boxes that look old, and you can visually see that. And again, the Davidoff, because they're white too, they're going to show age, I think, more so than any other boxes. So that's kind of my example of that. Stogie Santa and I have had lots of conversations about age stuff. I'd go online and do a bunch of research and find this crazy stuff. I'd make a list on my computer, and I'd bring it into the shop with me. And I'd say, do you have any of this? I read where this was good. The person said, I think it would fit my flavor profile. And that's how Stogie Santa and I kind of developed a relationship. Was I showed I had interest in cigars. I was willing to do research and do some legwork to find out which cigars I may like and appreciate, and then presented that to him. And I've scored some serious gems as a result with both Mark and Paul at Mr. J Havana Smoke Shop. They've both done that with me. I show interest in knowledge, and then the fact that I'm willing to spend my own time, to spend probably more time than I should have, probably out multiple, maybe thousands of hours, right, researching cigars.
Your wife hates you too, right?
Yeah, exactly. But to go in and have an informed way of conveying which cigars you're looking for, even if they don't have that specific cigar, they may say, well, I don't have that cigar, but I've got this other one that was a limited release that's 5 years old. Try this. And it's amazing.
I think this is a good stopping point just for a second. I want to make a point. Is most people who work in these shops are cigar geeks too.
I was just, that's
so
very well put.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's very well. No, it's very well put.
If you get excited, they're going to get excited, and if you establish a relationship with them, they're going to share. And that's been my experience.
I found even going into a shop and saying, I really love the Cien Años line. I've had a couple in this line. I really, really like this line. They'll say, wow, you've done some research. You kind of, if you're appreciating a line that was released for La Aurora's 100th anniversary, and you've smoked it and you like it, you can say, I really love the flavors on that cigar. They're going to recognize you as someone who appreciates fine aged cigars. And as long as I think you show that appreciation for those fine and aged cigars, they may say, well, I don't have that one from La Aurora. Maybe I do, and here's some. But also, hey, if you like that, maybe you like some of these other La Auroras that have been hanging around for a while that I want to sell, right? As we established, a retail shop, they want to sell stuff. But they also want to sell to someone that's going to appreciate them. And you see this, too. When you give someone a cigar, you want them to be a connoisseur. You want them to be someone who appreciates that fine aged cigar. And shops sometimes are, and call it what you want, maybe a little snobbery, but I think it's well placed. They want to give their fine aged stuff or sell their last 5 or 10 aged other La Aurora stuff, for example, to the person who's going to appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, Mark, did you
well, I can kind of speak to that because I've only been going to... Ding.
Is that number 4? That is 4. Is that a record?
That is a record.
It might be a record.
I
haven't been going to Mr. J's for all that long.
I think Stogie Santa gave me this cigar knowing that I would ash on myself a lot and try to get me to burn a hole in my shirt.
He's laughing right now.
He is.
Go ahead, Mark.
I haven't been going there all that long, to be honest, 4 or 5 months at this point. Mm-hmm. And I remember the first day I went in there, I said to him, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. And instantly he said, try this, try this, try this.
Yeah. And what you don't like is just as important as what you like.
Of course, yeah. And so right away, he started making recommendations that hit the spot, that really hit the mark, for that matter. And then I went back in a few more times, and
And your name's Mark.
I was going to make that joke, but I thought it was lame.
See, I'll take it. Dude, that's my grandfather. My grandfather was the king of corny humor, and
Nice.
he passed that on to
You
me.
gotta
So I,
love
I
that, though.
feel the need to carry on that tradition.
Hey.
So
do it. And then right away, I kind of fell into that niche, and you started.
and you two
Getting
fell,
me into the
fell
age
in
of-
love with Stogie Santa.
Oh,
And
he's
that's
the man.
it's a love
He's
story.
the
It is.
absolute man.
It's a love affair. with
Yeah.
him.
Did you sit in his lap at Christmas too?
Yes.
Maybe for
In
too
fact,
long.
he said, in order to get these cigars, you got to sit in my lap. And
We're all pals.
It
here,
was
man.
very-
It's all cool.
it was uncomfortable at first, but then he gave me the cigars and it was all right.
The bourbon.
Did you have more there? Because I'm about to relight my cigar and I need some time.
Well, I can actually speak to going to that shop in Philadelphia. I'd been in there in the past with my father-in-law, and but at that time I wasn't as deeply into cigars as I am now. It's a progressive disease,
Yes,
certainly.
yes,
But I
Well,
went back
like
in
it's
there.
a sickness. It's a
it's a hobby.
Well, our wives think it's a sickness.
yeah, that's true. All right, carry on.
Actually, if my wife is listening, this is a job. Okay, never mind. Moving on.
You keep working that angle, Tim.
I am working that angle.
But I did a lot of what you said. I went into that shop. I took a walk around his walk-in humidor, and I noticed that he had old LGs, the old hexagonal boxes before they had the newer burl wood flat top boxes.
LG they've got some old stuff.
Yeah, and those hexagonal boxes are 5 years old,
Wow.
minimum, right? So I said, hey, well, I noticed you have these. What other kinds of things that are old like this do you have? He didn't immediately come out.
Yeah.
And and I said, I like this kind of stuff, I like that kind of stuff, and then we started chatting, and then lo and behold, I got a lot of old stuff that's really hard to find, and from one spot, and it was well worth my time and my conversation. And as I was leaving, he said, come back next time.
Mark, you bring up a fantastic point, which I didn't put in the notes, and I'm glad you reminded me of, is that packaging changes over time.
Yes.
And this should be a whole other bullet, which I'll write up in the show notes. But the packaging is an indication that a cigar is aged. I'll give you some examples. Davidoff bands, as we've said in previous shows, older ones have the size on the band. Newer ones just say Geneva. So there's a difference in the Davidoff bands, and that's a differentiator of about 4 or 5 years. Fuente recently changed their bands. So
Yes.
on a lot of their cigars across the board, not just, Don Carlos to Hemingway changed the style of their band. So now you know that the newer bands are newer and the older bands are the older ones. Boxes, as you said,
Yeah.
can be an indication that the style box. Also with Ashton VSGs, some of the sizes didn't used to come with cellophane on them. Newer ones come with cellophane. So that's an indicator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're at
And-
least a couple years old if they do not have cellophane on.
Yeah.
And plus, if you throw out little hints that you kind of know what you're talking about, is when you kind of find your
Yeah,
way
if you
into
express
them,
if you
know what I'm
express
saying?
things like that to the retailer and say, well, I like the Ashton VSGs without the cellophane on them because I know they've got a few years on them and I like vintage cigars. Because don't forget now, a lot of, probably the majority of people coming in the shop are just like, I'll take that and that and that, and well, that looks kind of old. I don't want it. I want the fresh cigars. Like the people that are connoisseurs know that older cigars are better.
Well, what I actually
Not
said to
necessarily
him, I
better.
said-
They're more aged. I mean, I don't want to say better as in,
Sure.
you're not going to get a $3 cigar that you don't like to be awesome after aging it 10 years. I mean, that's,
Right.
yeah.
But I had said to him, I go, those old LG boxes, are those new stock that you're just using the old box and refilling them? And
Ah,
instantly
very
he
nice.
kind of said,
Yeah.
like,
He picked up on, this guy knows what he's talking about. Yeah.
But things like that work. They do. Little things like that go a long way to getting
Yes.
the really
Yep.
primo stuff,
Also, don't forget to look online. I mean, it was kind of my second thing here. Online shops sometimes have a vintage section, and this goes for Cuban and non-Cuban smokes.
Yes.
It'll typically be buried on the site. It's not going to be, hey, look at our vintage smokes usually.
Yep.
Because there is some mystique to it all, where I think, they only have a limited stock of vintage cigars. They've spent time aging cigars, knowing which cigars age well. So it's going to be buried on the site, but you can find some really great stuff. Like I said, Cuban and non-Cuban alike. Now, the Cuban websites, a lot of them do have vintage sites. areas of their site.
They may not have an area, but they will list the box date.
Some of them
So
list,
if you search the site for a particular year,
some of them will list the box date because I think almost all, if not all, Cuban cigars have a box date. I don't know if it's all.
I think they all do, actually.
So I
as a
haven't
matter
seen
of
one
fact.
without. Put
They
it
all
that
do.
way. If there are, please let
I
us
think
know.
they're
but
standard as well.
Yeah.
Like it's a standardized way to box date them
it's
as
a
well.
stamp.
they also have usually codes on them.
Yeah, codes which are going to indicate a date as well
Yep.
for Cuban cigars.
Or
So
where they were rolled.
when you go, and also with Cuban cigars, don't be afraid to email the person who runs the site and say, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a box of these. Can you tell me what box dates you have in stock?" And a lot of times they'll work with you on that as well. So don't be afraid to reach out and ask them how old the cigars are that they have in stock. Because sometimes, I mean, you just get lucky and you order it, but, it's Partagas 898 varnished. And when you order it, it's a box date from 2008. And, I mean, that's all the information you're going to get unless someone has ordered from them and spoken with the shop owner, which was my experience. And I've got that exact same cigar because of that experience, because a friend of mine had taken the time to figure out what box dates they were sending, and I ordered them. Sure enough, they were 898 varnishes from 2008 or whatever it was. I think it was Super Selection one, SS1s, Punch.
SS1s.
That's a Punch, right?
That's a punch.
Punch SS1s. They were Punch SS1s. Yeah. So that's a good thing to do as well. You'll be surprised at what you can find. And also throw the limited release in that mix too.
I was going to say that same goes for the limited releases.
If you know that a limited release was released in a specific year, there's no reason why you can't search out online and see which websites carry those cigars, and you say, "Hey, that's a Puro Vintage 2003." You know how old those cigars are.
And here's a hint on that. Search out the retailers and look for the ones that don't have an online website. Because those are usually the smaller shops that don't move as much merchandise.
And you call them up.
And you call them up and you ask.
Absolutely.
And I
that's a great tip
found-
I didn't put in here too. Is you can call the local shop that
I
doesn't
have
have an online
found
store.
year-old viajes that people were searching out by calling a small brick and mortar out in the middle of whatever.
And they're
state it
happy
was.
because it may not their clientele that may not be their
They're
thing.
not moving it. They want to move it. They're happy to get rid of it.
Yep,
I still get emails from that shop every
Yep.
time they get something Viaje in, and
that's great.
it worked out great. I got what I
That's a good
wanted.
tip.
They got what they wanted. So
The other thing I had in here is trade with friends. Your friends could have stuff. You've got a great collection. Tim's got a great collection. We all trade. Stogie Santa, and we all do trades. And
Of course, yeah.
that's another thing too. It's about telling people what you like, what
Mhm.
you want to smoke. I find with friends that, let's say I've got some cigars that are really old, really hard to find even, and I've smoked some, and I thought they were good, even great. If your friend comes to you and says, I've always wanted to smoke a Tatuaje RC184, if you tell one of your friends that, they're like, you know what, I'll just send you one. Like, I've got a whole box or whatever, or I've got 5. I'll send you one because you've expressed interest. You know your stuff. You know what you like. You've always wanted to try one. I'll let you try one. That's a
I
great.
found that to be very common in this hobby in particular. Is that
Yeah,
most
absolutely.
of the people that are really into it.
I mean, especially between us on the Stogie Geeks, right? If any one of us has a cigar that the other person hasn't smoked and always wanted to try,
And it's not our last one or something.
yeah,
of that
exactly.
nature.
Yeah,
then
or
it's
like
good
if
to
you
go.
only have one, and I've never tried it, you're probably not. But if I have more than one of something, and especially anyone on the Stogie Geeks wants to smoke that, here you go, smoke it.
Yeah, of course.
Let's smoke
Of
it together.
course.
Mark and I have done that a lot.
Yep.
That's one of my favorite things about this hobby. Actually, is the
It's the brotherhood.
generosity
Yeah.
and you find a couple good dudes that like what you like, and
And the same goes on. I'm not sure if it's in your notes, but online forums. Have you touched upon that in your
Yeah,
notes?
before online forums, how's everyone's cigar doing?
Mine, actually, the wrapper started coming off. And the interesting part of it is I actually started dissecting mine. I'm down to the last 1.5 inches or so.
Yeah, it's falling apart on you, dude.
It's got 2 wrappers, 2 layers of wrapper.
Oh, nice. Oh, some cigars are double wrapper.
I never realized that in all the years I've been smoking.
I will say that cigar is not documented as being double wrapper.
Well, it seems to be. That looks like a second wrapper to you, right?
Or is that the binder?
I already peeled off the first layer.
And this right here
Yeah.
was underneath that.
Yeah.
That looks like it's 2 wrappers to me.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because binders and wrappers are pretty
that's
easily. Yeah, that's definitely a binder underneath there. Yeah.
Flavor-wise, perfect. It's smoking great. I think I did start to pick up a little extra
I was going to ask, did it ever kick up a little bit for
a
you?
little bit on the back of my throat, too. And until this last, inch and a half, I had no construction issues whatsoever. But
Mark, what do you think?
It's a really enjoyable smoke.
Nice. Very
I've
nice.
kind of gotten over my anxiety in the beginning.
No, that's good. You had a lot of anxiety. I see your anxiety. Well, there could be the drinking that your anxiety has subsided.
It certainly has
I
something
think-
to do
You're
with
able
it.
to enjoy the unbanded cigar, which is great.
I think the last third is probably my favorite part of the smoke. I'm really enjoying it. Maybe it's just the bourbon and the rum.
It's
but-
gotten better for me as well.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So you're going to give it a whirl without the wrapper now?
Yeah, absolutely.
See how it goes?
Yeah,
There you
I've
go.
dissected the cigar. So
Nice. So online forums is kind of an extension of your friends, and I'm going to let Tim and Mark kind of take this one as I don't frequent the forums as much as I probably should, but you guys are big into the forums, so I'm curious to see. You can find a lot of aged cigars by buying or trading in the forums. Certainly.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I'm curious to hear your experiences with finding aged. I think that's probably, if you're looking for a specific aged cigar, probably the place to go.
it can be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you have a specific one in mind, that's the place to
You
go.
have to be patient. You have to, correct me if you disagree with me, Mark, but you have to establish a relationship.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well,
and trust.
we've already established that you have to establish a relationship with people to
Sure.
find aged cigars, right? I
But
mean,
on forums, it takes longer than a good
It does.
conversation
It
in
does.
a shop
Yep,
because
I
you
agree.
really have to prove that you're not. There's a lot of people that show up on these forums. Correct me if you guys think I'm off base on this, but there's a lot of people that show up on these forums that are not well, they're unsavory people.
so
You
let's
know what I'm
say-
saying? They're
I'm
going to
gonna
try and
say-
take advantage.
I'm going to say, and I've been with the online stuff since I was like 7 years old, right?
Yep.
There's two kinds of problems with the forums and why they're so paranoid. One, there's a-holes on there, right?
and a plethora of them.
Yep.
Yes.
And the second is there's people that are just outright looking to screw you, and they're looking to rip you off.
So they would be super a-holes,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact. Yeah.
I mean, they're scam artists, basically.
Of course.
I mean, there's the general a-hole on the forum, and then there's like the full-blown scam artist, and those are two different.
But they
people.
get weeded out quick.
They do, and that's
the,
great.
The super
Yeah.
assholes. But that's why you have to put in a couple months worth of time. You have to put post on there fairly regularly. You have to prove that you're a member of their community before they'll allow you to.
share.
You have to prove that you're a true connoisseur
Yeah.
before they're going to perform transactions with you, which is
Absolutely,
totally
they'll
understandable.
often let you buy, but they won't let you sell. They won't let you perform trades.
And
they
some,
won't let you.
some won't let you even buy. Some won't even let you really post anything until you really. I mean, you have to make a mug, like you said.
menial posts. They'll let you
You
put
have-
this, introduce yourself.
That's
that's a
you have
key
to
right
contribute. You have to contribute before you're allowed to really
Start
interact.
by introducing yourself.
there. That is vital.
Be
the
a
first thing you have to
human
do.
being.
Yes.
Yes.
The
That's
first thing you have
first
to do
thing
is
you gotta
post
do
an
on any of them.
introduction. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Say who you are. Say where you live. Say what kind
But
of
there's
things you like to
there's
do.
great benefits to doing that.
There is.
You make a lot of friends on the forums. You're able to buy and trade cigars. It's an extension of the brotherhood online.
And I'll tell
which is
you
great.
what, you learn a lot too. So, okay, you're thinking about buying A, B, and C cigar. Well, great. Which ones are smoking good right now? The forums are the perfect place to go and find out. That is the type of interaction.
There's something to be said for the collective,
Absolutely.
and it's totally different than social networking.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Social networking, I mean, you can harness the power of the collective, but it's much less personal on Facebook or Twitter. It's much more intimate in the forums, and you have to spend the time and contribute, interact before you're allowed to buy, sell, or trade.
Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely a huge element of that, and pretty much every forum. I really only go on one regularly.
Your Cigar Pass,
I am.
and your BOTL.
BOTL. I am on Cigar Pass too, but more recently.
Yep.
BOTL has been my go-to for the last year.
And that's BOTL.org and cigarpass.com.
Correct.
And there's other ones out there.
Oh, absolutely.
Cigar Asylum is another one that I've
Yep.
seen out there before. There's a lot of them, actually, to
There
be honest
is,
with you.
Yeah.
Those are the big ones right there.
Some of them publish blacklists for people who've ripped people off.
All of the big ones will subscribe to that
Yeah, absolutely.
scumbag list.
Yeah.
Dude, there's, I mean,
It's actually called the scumbag list.
like
so-
I said, I've been doing the computer thing since I was 7. There's scumbags online.
Oh, yeah.
Total scumbags. Everywhere. Every site, every outlet, every type of hobby, interest, industry. When you move to the online, the anonymity breeds scumbags.
Absolutely. There's no face.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's easy to hide when your face isn't out there.
Absolutely.
As an example, one of my white whales, the Noella Reserva from 2009.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned this. Tim.
I have never had one. I ended up scoring a handful today on the BLTL
Nice.
from a fellow
Now,
brother.
which Noea Reserva? There was 3 releases Noea Reserva.
I believe there was. I'm assuming it's the 09. He didn't specify.
Okay.
That was the last one. I don't care which one it is. I've never had one.
They're
He-
really
He
good.
offered a
I've
fair
never had one
price with free shipping.
What's that, Mark?
I've never had one either.
Yeah, they're really good.
Oh, we'll change that.
So Stogie Santa has offered, and I'm trying to get him here on the show, to do a pork tenderloin and a Noea Reserva for the show.
He wants to do that in the next 2 shows.
Yeah, he does. And we're fully supportive of that.
Yes, we are.
Because I've smoked 1 or 2 of each, and I have to tell you, they are
Fantastic. Yeah.
just outstanding cigars. They hold up to the hype.
The pork tenderloin. Well, I've never, like I've already said, I've never had a Noea Reserva. But those
You've had a pork tenderloin?
are-
Yeah.
I got one left.
Well, I'll contribute to the cause if he can't make it on the show. The 3 Noella Reservas I grabbed today, they'll be here in the next few days. I'll
Nice.
throw them towards the show. So
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, it is a fabulous cigar.
best
Very
to
nice.
smoke it with other people who can appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Tim, the diversion of the week.
Yeah, what did I throw up there actually?
Uh,
yes. Doc's post. This is from the Stogie Fresh 5 podcast and site. That's stogiefresh.info, I believe. He threw up a 2-part post on why Cubans are so expensive. Not typically what you would think the post would be. He really went into depth outlining the historical, the social, the political, and the financial reasons that affect the cost of Cubans worldwide. I link to both in the show notes. I recommend going up and checking it out, reading it. Very interesting. He does a fantastic job with that site and the podcast, and I also recommend both to our listeners. So, you going to say something, Mark?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm texting Stogie Santa, who didn't actually tell me what the.
I don't know.
unbanned-
I don't always
messing
think
with you.
Cubans are all that expensive, though. To be honest with you.
Well,
I don't
either. I questioned it too. When I first saw the post, I'm like, really? Compared to what?
Right. I mean,
Um,
there's I would say, really the most expensive cigars on the market, barring the Cohiba Bahike,
Yep.
right, are American release cigars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are very few $15 to $20 Cuban cigars out there. There
True.
are very, very few of them.
With the exception of the limitadas. I mean, that's,
But that's to be expected,
Yeah.
I would suppose. I mean, it's a limited edition, or cutting down the release numbers and things like that.
I agree with you. I think it's still a very interesting post. He goes into what Cuba is producing right now versus demand. He also touches upon what would happen if the embargo was lifted and what would happen to the prices of Cubans at that point, because they're already not meeting demand as is. So, U.S. market opens up. Guess what happens to the prices?
It's fair to say that that's not going to happen for
Are
a
you-
long
Probably
time,
not.
though.
Well,
Are you
That's
guys-
just not going to happen.
Are you guys ready to hear what you've been smoking? Because I just found out what I've been smoking.
I would love to.
Do you have a guess,
Alrighty.
Mark? Or
Any guesses? Yes. Let's.
My
go.
original guess was a Dark Ritual from EPC,
Really?
but I don't think that's it anymore.
Interesting, because you think you both said that, right?
I haven't smoked one since we smoked on episode 2 of the show back in October, so I wouldn't disagree with that.
That was my original guess by
but-
size, feel, look, and smelling the foot before I lit it.
Yeah, the smell,
You
definitely.
guys are
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't
You
know.
guys are gonna poop yourselves.
I think it's Nicaragua. I think it has Nicaraguan tobacco in it.
I do. I think so as well.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna.
It's not Nicaraguan.
So let's see. The origin is Honduras.
Okay.
So that's where the cigar is made. It has nothing to do with the components, but that's where the cigar is made. Tim actually guessed the wrapper correctly and said it was a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro, which is, in fact, the wrapper.
That wasn't tough though.
The binder is Cameroon, and the filler is Dominican. It's a medium-strength cigar. What was the guesses on the size?
I said a 52 ring by maybe a 6.5.
I said 54.
It is a 7 by 56
Wow.
ring gauge cigar, And it is, drumroll please, a Black Dragon Imperial Presidente from Gurkha Cigars.
No
Awesome,
shit.
dude. No shit.
Very nice.
That might be the best Gurkha I've ever had, actually.
Second best. I like the Seduction.
You guys
No,
gave
very-
me one
yeah.
of them, and I buried it, and I just found it. and
No,
I'm
yeah,
going to smoke
the
it
Seduction is really good. So some more information about the cigar. It is the MSRP is $288 for a box of 20, or $14.40 a piece. Are you ready to hear what I paid? Drum roll again. On cigarbid.com, I bought 10 of these for $46.
Well done.
again. Wow.
So with shipping, about $5 per cigar.
That is a fantastic smoke for $5.
Isn't it good? Now,
Absolutely worth every penny.
my thoughts on the cigar. I thought the first 2/3 were really good. I got some great flavors from the first 2/3. I thought the finish was kind of just okay, but my first 2/3 were absolutely fantastic, and I enjoyed it immensely. Now, interesting, I smoked this cigar when I first bought them. Now, Stogie Santa recommended that I buy these as his recommendation for a really good Gurkha cigar. And reading about Gurkha cigars, I've come to appreciate what they've been doing in the cigar industry. When I first smoked it, I really wasn't a big fan. I did not get the kind of earthy. I don't know what I got a sweet bread. I got a sweetness from it. I got kind of like a sweet bready type flavor from it.
I could see bready in this.
Yeah.
Now that you say it.
I
yeah.
got a sweet bready
I didn't get
flavor
any sweetness, but the breadiness, yes.
in the first 2/3, which I really enjoyed. And after a year in my humidor, they were a completely different cigar.
Okay.
When I first smoked it, I did not get any sweetness. I didn't get that nice bready flavor. I didn't get any of those flavors. But after a year in the humidor, I bought these on May 23rd. Yeah, my son's birthday. May 23rd, 2011. May 23rd will be my son's birthday. I bought these on May
Well, your
23rd.
son's birthday is 3 days before mine.
May 23rd, yeah, is my son's birthday. And so I actually found the date when I bought them from the email I got from cigarbid.com is where I got them.
Nice.
So
I like that site.
I'm glad
really
you guys
good,
I'm
I've
glad you
gotten
guys
really
enjoyed it.
good deals on
The
that
fact
site.
that you compared a Gurkha to an EP Carrillo is amazing. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's why I like doing the Unbanded. Oh, so are you guys ready to hear what mine is?
I am.
And I had no freaking idea what mine is. I had no idea. I thought maybe Nicaraguan.
My visual guess was an Ashton.
I was yes. In fact, you're correct. It was an Ashton VSG Double Corona.
Nailed it.
Nicely done.
Stogie Santa tells me that it was a 2-year-old Ashton VSG Double Corona, and it was really. I tell you what, the middle third of that cigar was spot on.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't guess that just by that VSG spice.
I'm horrible at guessing.
I guessed it simply because of the shape of the box press.
Right.
Because it was a box press double Corona. And who else makes a box press double Corona?
But not only the shape of that box press, it's not rectangular. It was square.
Yeah, yeah.
And their box presses are square.
It was really
I
good.
have a Robusto in my box right here.
Thank you, Stogie Santa. We're going to do some after-show cigars for sure. Oh!
Number 5.
Ding! What the? And it was on my phone. Do you see my phone? What the? I asked on myself, my computer, and my phone in this episode. That's a new record by far.
For those keeping record,
I'm losing
twice.
track of what I could actually
I did-
ash on.
I
I
did
haven't
twice.
ashed in my drink, which sometimes happens, but I haven't
All
done
right,
that
have
yet.
either of you guys ashed yourselves?
No.
Okay.
No,
so
I have
between
not.
Paul, between you and I, that's 7 in one show.
Must be the shirt.
Son of a...
I got one on my
Alrighty.
shirt, one on my keyboard. So
Well, thanks everyone for listening to the Stogie Geeks Show. It's been a really fun episode, fabulous, good times. I'm glad we did the Unbanded segment. I'm glad you guys enjoyed your cigars, and with that, we'll call it a show, and we'll be back at sometime this month. Like I said, we're on a regular schedule now.
Yep.
So again, thanks to our sponsors, Ocean State Cigars, and thanks to everyone in the studio, and of course, thanks to our fabulous listeners who send us tweets and email and Facebook, and keep that stuff coming.
Keep
We
them
love to hear
coming,
from our
yeah.
listeners.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode.
Good night.